Did the Beast Titan just give Levi this explosive surprise? So what's up guys, Foxen here. Oh my god, Levi is totally dead. Farewell Captain Levi, you're in a much better place now with Erwin and Potato Girl. By the way, do be sure to give this a colossal thumbs up and subscribe. Can we get over 9,000 colossal likes? Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So really fleshing out the Beast Titan this chapter. Were Zeke's true motives just revealed? I mean, you got Zeke going on about euthanasia. Did Zeke really just want to kill all of them all along? Not too surprising. Perhaps Zeke wanted to use a founding titan to take out all Eldians. You know, similar to the end of the first Avengers movie, with the aliens being wiped out all of a sudden. And then you have the nasty thing about Zeke seeing himself merciful for taking Eldian lives. Oh, I was just freeing their souls from their suffering here. Never mind that the scouts in present day weren't exactly suffering on the island. I mean, even if you go down the route of only getting the Eldians sterilized, which I will touch on later. Is Eren truly 100% on Zeke's plan? I really doubt it. So the question becomes, who is lying to who? But anyway, let me not put it off. The biggest thing this chapter, you have Zeke just saying, screw it, I'm taking you with me, Levi. Explosion, or self-destruct. So there you have it, Isayama actually killed off Levi. And Levi right here is sure catching some air. Goddamn Isayama with his freaking cliffhangers. I mean, you really don't have to worry about Zeke, he's about to Deadpool his ass out of this mess. Either that, or pull out this random Titan move out of his ass like Reiner did. Don't worry, it is but a flesh wound. Who needs their bottom half? But seriously, does anyone actually really think that Levi just died? Let me know down below. Simple yes or no question, did Levi just die? Or how about Zeke? How hurt are both of them? I mean, just doing a super close-up on Levi, you can see what looks like blood coming out. This actually goes back to the leaks talking about Levi missing a foot or a hand. I know some people do think that he lost both, but I'm thinking that Levi only lost an arm. The foot seems fine. I'm actually hoping that Levi didn't lose both of the legs. I mean, come on. Did Isayama really just make this guy even shorter? That is cruel. Either way, it looks like Isayama finally managed to successfully give Levi a handicap. No more Beyblading for him. Levi, you've officially been nerfed. Either way, I'm definitely not buying that Levi just died. At worst, Isayama just put him in a coma, or made him bedridden until the end of the Attack on Titan. Although here is a prediction. You're not gonna find out what exactly happened to Levi for 3 or 2 chapters. You could pretty much expect Isayama to keep on doing these type of cliffhangers until the very end of Attack on Titan. By the way, I do have to point out some side note here. Is anyone else a little surprised that Levi didn't disarm the freaking Thunder Spear? I mean, did he have to use a real one? It looks like this time Levi was the one that underestimated freaking Zeke. It looks like Levi's steak and sushi treatment is catching up to him. Anyway, now let's actually get to the rest of the juicy flashback chapter. I really was hoping for some juicy reveals for the OG Beast Titan. But how about some new stuff about Grisha and Dina, Eren Kruger? To be honest, there is a lot to cover in this flashback, so I'm really just going down the flashback from start to end. Alright, so kicking out this flashback, Isayama really likes that birdcage parallel. Right here at the start, it really reminded me of Eren's hatred for his own little birdcage back in his hometown. The only difference is that there's no titans here, only the rest of the world and Marley soldiers with guns and hungry dogs. It almost seems kind of ironic that you could see the other side of the wall, since the walls are super short. Right here you can see Grisha slowly pushing his own mindset onto his child Zeke. Oh Zeke, you don't want to live in this small area, do you? Now contrast this to Eren. As far as you've seen, Eren developed this yearning mindset to escape all on his own. As for the Marley and cleaner guy that appeared, is Isayama trying to say something about human nature with this guy? I mean, this older gentleman was super duper sweet to the Yeager family. Oh, don't worry, take your time, I'll come back later. Until he noticed they were Eldians. Just gotta love that Eldian discrimination. Of course, this was due to the supposed years of Eldians using their titans to kill and rule all of them. This right here actually makes you question this shady history. There's definitely gotta be a mixture of truth and lies. So how much garbage actually exists? As for Grisha and Dina heading back to their little birdcage, you could hear some talk about the outside world. The cleaner mentions that they were still allowed to have kids. Very clearly an influence to young Zeke here, and definitely fueling something that comes up later on. Meanwhile, you have Grisha saying that the world is wrong and must be changed. Unfortunately, Grisha ended up giving Zeke a taste of this outside world. Zeke also got this first-hand experience of discrimination faced by the Eldians. I mean, even much later, you see him clearly looking back to this moment. As for Zeke and the warrior trainee program, funny how this guy really reminded me of freaking Reiner. I mean, I do have to do a shot-by-shot comparison, but it almost feels like an exact copy. You got Zeke here not being the best of the bunch. Later actually revealed that he was the worst one. Poor Zeke, he looks so desperate to fricking finish. As for the one overseeing this training, you got a cameo from young Margath. Looks like this guy was very observant. He clearly noticed Zeke wasn't like the other kids who were trying to become warriors or honorary citizens within Marley. Oh Zeke, you have no guts. Get out of here, kid. But back to Grisha and Dina. This right here actually reminded me of fricking American parents. Or should I just say the American mindset, telling your kid that they're super special, when perhaps they're not. Although to be fair in this case, Zeke actually is due to his royal blood connection. By the way, something I noticed here was Grisha's father looking overly sad, perhaps disapproving of Grisha and Dina's nighttime activities. So as expected, Grisha and Dina were keeping the truth about their club activities at nighttime secret from Mama and Papa. But really, a fricking dance club? You couldn't come up with something better? Really sounds like a red flag right here. I mean, Papa Yeager should have demanded Grisha to show him some dance moves. Also, it wasn't like they were just making it super obvious. Zeke, one day you will understand how to get down with your funky self. Alright, so getting into the first major thing about this flashback. Oh, some Titan history. Look familiar? This definitely goes back to what was shown in the season 2 ending. I do think it was either Isayama or the director that mentioned the season 2 ending had things not even shown in the fricking manga. Look back here and bingo. Turns out that those Titans coming from Aquaman's domain was this event. 1200 years ago, this huge Marley city got wrecked by Titans. The OG attack on Marley. Sorry Eren, it's already been done. Grisha's father added an explanation about the other scene, the one where you could see a bunch of people heading towards the sun, then Titans appearing. I always thought these guys were Eldians, but supposedly these marching people were apparently Marleyans. Marleyans that then got devoured by the Titans in the sun. How many people died here? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands maybe? The one important thing I was wondering here was whether this was a secret Eldian book, or more of Marley's propaganda, which at this point could really be a mixture of history. I mean, this is talking about something 1200 years ago. Think back to our own real world. We got several issues going back that far in history. You could only imagine how corrupted their history is. Although based on Papa Yeager's line here about whether Grisha was teaching him the correct history, it sounds like this stuff was the Marleyan version of it. So I'm pretty skeptical about this so-called attack. I think it definitely happened, but maybe not how they're describing it. Anyway, it seems that Zeke was always in on the secrets of his parents, some secrets at least. Right here I got the feeling that his grandparents definitely suspected something, but they couldn't get it out of him. In one of the shots you do see Zeke looking over at the picture, at Grisha's poor dead sister. I mean later on you do hear Grisha bringing her up again, which I think might have been a constant thing for Grisha, and by extension Zeke hearing about it. As for Zeke the warrior trainee, my god did this guy suck at trying to become a warrior. I mean what 10-year-old can't glue a frickin' gun together? Pathetic. An important thing to notice here is Zeke's true feelings being hinted at. The poor kid really just wanted to have a normal relationship with his father and maybe mother, like the two that he saw on the street. In the past you did hear about how Grisha was just using him, and now you're seeing that even more. Grisha really just wanted young Zeke to relearn this correct history. No playtime for you, Zeke, time to study up. As for Grisha's so-called study time, that none of these events happened. On top of that, Eldians were perfect human beings, thanks to the great founder Ymir. Oh, did I say perfect? Eldians were freaking chiseled from marble. I don't know, but doesn't it seem kind of ironic that this BS he's spewing sounded more out there than the Marleyan version? But good boy Zeke, that's my brainwashed little man. At this point it really just seemed like Zeke was trying to make his papa happy. Next up, for Margath here. I always was getting this Keith vibe from this dude, and now I was getting that 200% this chapter. No motivations, young Zeke, you're out. It's also funny how Zeke now has his parallel to freaking Eren from season 1. Holy crap. Zeke, you are not ready to fully dedicate your heart. Who knew that two brothers could be so freaking similar? And then for this panel shot here at the end, this screams even more young Reiner. Wasn't Reiner always at the end of his group? As for Zabber coming in, it's baseball time. I was really just wondering, was Zeke naturally gifted at throwing? This whole initial encounter from the OG Beast Titan really reminded me of how Eren Kruger picked out young Grisha, except in a much more friendly manner. Anyway, for the Beast Titan here, or should I say Tom Zabber, finally we could stop the debate about his name. I'm just gonna call you Tom, Mr. Beast Titan. So right from the get-go, some interesting reveals about the previous Beast Titan, that the Beast Titan was supposedly not useful in battle. I mean, come on, really? Did Marley really have to spend decades and decades, plus a bunch of kids in order to finally find out how to fully use the Titans in battle? That actually sounds like them. I'm not sure if Tom here as a Beast Titan was wasted as a Titan researcher. I'm talking about to Marley, because he just revealed some juicy information. I'm guessing that eventually Zeke also inherited this Titan research from Tom, which then led to the development of that Titan gas. As for young Zeke here, was this guy finally smiling? It feels like his first time. So hey, Zeke finally found his father figure, which actually speaks a lot. Cause on the flip side back at home, these guys were not too happy about this soon to be dropped out warrior son. But don't worry, Grisha believes in you Zeke, cause you're special. Next up, back at the public training, you got a desperate looking Zeke. Like I said before, poor kid really just wanted to make his parents proud. The little kid really just wanted some freaking love from his parents. I mean, just thinking back to Attack on Titan, it seems that all characters had this messed up parent upbringing. And some people didn't even have parents. I mean, in this panel shot, you just got Grisha looking away in disappointment. Freaking asshole, I mean, just look at Zeke crying. Even Tom here is looking sad just looking at Zeke. He actually did care. As for more bonding time with Tom, at this point it's pretty obvious why these two got close together. I was really just wondering how much say does a previous holder have for passing down the Titan? I mean, just looking at this scene, it seemed like the perfect ticket to get that Beast Titan booty. As for Tom's reason here for becoming a Titan shifter, to learn more about them. Of course, by the end of this chapter, it looked more like this was an excuse, or at least a partial truth. Either way, I was just thinking, was this guy like Hanji, a mad scientist gone too far though? I mean, you are able to study them without becoming a Titan yourself. Tom here really seemed like a scientist that went too far, far beyond, and actually began experimenting on himself. As for something important dropped here, there's another mention about the invisible paths. I gotta say, Isayama has been bringing this up a lot lately. Even more interesting is that he mentions the founding Titan Ymir transmitting something. How the hell would you even discover that? Was she transmitting something like a memory or message 2,000 years into the future? Really goes back to the name of the first chapter. I mean, come on, even Tom here feels like a parallel to Eren Kruger. The dude is questioning what Titan history has been, at the same time also asking other important questions. Why do Titans have all these other abilities that are not useful for battle? Certain Titan traits like passing down memories or a decrease in lifespan. It definitely feels like Isayama's dropping this golden breadcrumb here. Next up, as to how Zeke found out about his parents being close to being captured. This chapter, they are expanding more on Zeke overhearing the soldiers. I could totally buy this just randomly happening, but I have seen plenty of complaints over the past year about how it seems too random. I think now with Zeke's fleshed out flashback, it makes it more viable. As for Zeke back at home, you got the poor little guy worrying his little ass about what could happen. This really reminded me of freaking Gabby when she was having dinner. As for another callback, Grisha here looking disappointed. This instantly made me think back to Rogue Eren in the recent chapters. Come on Isayama, how many parallels can you put into a freaking chapter? As for Zeke trying to plead against his parents' actions, I was just thinking, when has that ever gone well? So you got Grisha going back to the line about standing up against their oppressors. Still very much fueled by the loss of his sister. This actually feels familiar to Eren wanting revenge on the Titans for the Titans snacking on Carla. By the way, this also made me think back to what the plump Marley soldier told him about what exactly Grisha hoped to do if they gained the founding Titan. I mean, surely Grisha avoided going into details about to young Zeke, but naturally, another attack on Marley or attack on the world would follow. To give Isayama a lot of credit, I think this was handled pretty well. I started feeling bad again for Grisha here. Poor young Grisha only wanted to see that big ass balloon. Unfortunately, his small wish got his sister murdered by Marley. Naturally, it wasn't too surprising to see young Zeke reaching out to the closest person he knew. Ironically, that ended up being the Beast Titan. For Tom right here, this guy looked heavily in pain. He was sweating more than freaking Bert, and that's an accomplishment on its own. Alright, so getting into another major reveal. It turns out that Zeke got the plan from Tom, the Beast Titan, not from Kruger to turn them in. Alright, so flipping the switch, it's interesting to see how Tom pulled out the child abuse card. Oh, you've been taken advantage of, young Zeke. Turn those bastards in. All this time you've just been neglected and abandoned. You've never been loved. So it turns out it never actually was Zeke's god-tier mind at work that led him to turn in his parents. I mean, I'm not saying that Zeke appeared dumb, but he was clearly this naive little kid. In a way, it almost seems like he was manipulated or heavily influenced by the Beast Titan all along. Next up, you get a chance to see Zeke's backstabbing his parents from his point of view. I mean, after all he's been through, I really can't blame him for cutting their ties. Not that there was much to begin with. By the way, for the soldiers here, I do believe Eren Kruger was here, but I don't see him being highlighted at all. I'm even more surprised to see no Eren Kruger at all anywhere in this flashback. But back to Tom here, it turns out that this guy actually did care. I mean, you see the guy crying, just emotion over the turn of events. Eventually, Tom did become Zeke's new father figure. As for Zeke practicing those baseball throws, something else confirmed about the Beast Titan. This originally was not something weaponized by the previous Beast Titans. Pretty much confirmed that Zeke actually made the Beast Titan into this killing machine. As for the little cameo for the warriors here, it is kinda nice seeing everyone else. You have Peak, Annie, Bert, Reiner, and the other two Joss Titan guys. Interesting how Annie is still being distant from the group here. Next up, let's actually get into what's perhaps the biggest takeaway from this chapter, what Tom has been researching this whole time. He mentioned something very interesting about the effects from the Founding Titan on Ymir's descent. I was just wondering whether this included everyone or only royal blood individuals. I was just hoping for royal blood being in this requirement to unlock this extra Titan DLC. Alright, so there is a lot here. Tom talks about this massive worldwide epidemic. For this, I think I have to go back over past things again, just to double check. But this does make you think about the popular idea that Ymir was the scientist who created the Titans. If you look back at a lot of the Attack on Titan openings or endings, you do see a lot of microorganisms. Supposedly the original Attack on Titan story did begin with this Titan origins. I'm talking about the stuff from chapter 0. But looking at a different part about this, the world population drastically dropping. So for this, could this actually explain the truth about people supposedly being wiped out by the Titans? Could it be that instead, you had massive epidemics that took out human civilizations? Meanwhile, at the same time, Eldians were immune, so to other people, it could have been seen as those unaffected being the ones that caused this infection. Really makes you wonder. Perhaps the world was in some peaceful type of state, until eventually the non-Eldians turned on the freaking Eldian Titans. But getting into the most interesting part about this, Tom mentioned how the Founding Titan yielded his power to do this biology rewrite on the Eldians. For this, I do want to double check what the actual words used for this yield phrase. Part of this should have been due to the connection that every Eldian has to the Founding Titan, so this does bring up the question about what other powers the Founding Titan is capable of. I could really see where Isayama is going with this for present day. Oh Eren, you just need to configure every Eldian's biology again to remove the Titans from within them, perhaps only leaving a select few. I mean, that's one possibility, but it does leave the remaining former Eldians in trouble, especially the ones on Paradise Island. Either way, I could almost guarantee that Isayama is revealing this now as a way to end the Attack on Titan story. This might need its own video later on. Alright, so switching it over to Zeke's side, could this be Zeke's true intention, sterilizing all Eldians using the Founding Titan? Although it's starting to seem like using the Founding Titan to kill all of them is his current plan. If it is about sterilizing the Eldians, did perhaps Eren caught on to this, which is why Historia is currently pregnant? Either way, you do have Zeke mentioning 100 years to get rid of this Titan mess from Earth. Let me bring up a question here. How much does this affect any mixture of Eldians with non-Eldians? I mean, if you actually buy the story that Ymir existed 2000 years ago, there's gotta be this massive mixing centuries down the line. Does that mean that you would become sterile if you got 1% Ymir blood within you? How does that even work? Next up, even more reveals from Tom, the true reason why he became the Beast Titan. So for this, I gotta say overall, pretty sad tale. Unfortunately for Tom, his wife loved the idea of hating Eldians more than loving her own husband and son. Something else I just found interesting is that he reveals this right before he logs off. I'm betting that he was actually going to take this moment to his grave and not tell anyone. As for the vigil of Tom's dead loved ones on the ground, poor guy. I mean, the guy was dreading over himself being born. But here's the thing, so far it doesn't seem like he's done a single wrong deed. Overall, I think we're getting a very clear picture of Zeke's true present-day objective, and there's two parts to this. For one, freeing the world from the fear of Titans, and also freeing Eldians from their suffering. To help out the world, Zeke has that no baby option using the Founding Titan, but how about ending the Eldian suffering? For this one, right now there seems to be 3 possibilities. Either freeing them and then putting them in a position of power, which seems to be what Eren wants, or going back to my Science Gate theory, which is somehow using the Founding Titan to use his Titan time magic, and then make it so these powers never existed. Or option 3, the final solution plan, which is really just wiping out all Eldians. That really seems like Zeke's current plan. By the way, here's a side note. The Founding Titan supposedly is able to rewrite their bodies. However, can the Founding Titan rewrite their biology in the past? I mean, everything is connected, right? As for 2 other things worth mentioning, no mention of Eren or Eren Kruger this chapter. I think this chapter pretty much confirms something I mentioned about both of these brothers. Both of them have very similar goals, except they're trying to reach it in very different ways. So maybe we're not gonna get that ultimate battle of Levi versus Eren, but eventually I do see this conflict coming between the Beast Titan and the current Eren. In other words, a battle between the two Yeager brothers, whether physical or non-physical. I mean, come on, at this point the Beast Titan cannot take on Eren. As for no Eren Kruger, I think this was actually a pretty surprising thing. There's actually no connection of Kruger to the past Beast Titan or even Zeke. Or maybe, find out his connection next time on Titan Ball Z. By the way, really quickly, you can start sending me and tweeting your questions for the follow-up discussion next week. Just be sure to follow and include the hashtag. But anyway, more important question of the day. Here's the $1,000,000 question. What exactly do you think happened to Zeke and Levi? Did both of them die from that explosion? But come on, what do you think happens to Levi now? Do you think Levi's gonna be in a coma or just armless or legless now? Is Hanji gonna make a special wheelchair for Levi? After that, Levi just needs to freaking shave his head. But anyway, be sure to give a colossal thumbs up and subscribe. Go ahead and tweet me your questions and definitely check out my full breakdown on the recent Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2 trailer. But don't forget there's more anime than Attack on Titan. Check out my weekly SAO alicization and Shield Hero reviews. Also, the Konosuba movie trailer is out now. Be sure to hit bell notifications and I'll see you guys later.